Hey guys, how you doing? Yeah, it's been a while since I've made videos, I am planning on making a very big video later down the line, but that'll have to wait. So with this one, just to make a long story short, in such a long period of time, I went to another convention. The last convention that I went to, of course, happened in 2015, but now, in 2022, I went to the Retro World Expo in Hartford, Connecticut, and man, let me tell you, I mean, experiencing a con, at this time is kind of a miracle, knowing what's been happening in the past couple of years, but honestly, this wasn't a really good time, and how it happened actually was kind of strange. At one point, my friend, B-Dags, basically was talking about going, and at first I was kind of hesitant because of, just of how, I've been to a con before, but it was kind of a little bit off for me, when I first went to that con, and having some kind of, I think I already explained it in an old video about how my experience was that, and just depending on the fandom that I was in, it kind of felt like a very split on the fence experience. But he did convince me and actually gave me a ride to the convention.
Hello, I am so sorry if I am talking very, very quietly and slowly, so we have made it to the Retro World Expo, and I am here, with B-Dags, and we are just parking right now to get to the convention. Let's do this.
We are heading to that arcade area over there. There's Mr. Dags. Say hi to the YouTube audience.
Hello to the YouTube audience.
And let me tell you, it was freaking cool. I was there only for one day, but even for that one day, it was a ride. It was a really awesome. I met really great people. I got a few things out of it, especially one of the, if not one of the things that I've wanted since a long time, ever since I heard about it, ever since people talked about it. But let me just talk about my experience. So going inside the con, I saw a lot of things, and I do want to tell you right now, you're going to be seeing some few photos of cosplayers and the people that I met, and yeah, that's pretty, and maybe a few moments of me, and sorry for some of the video quality. Some of the I had my video camera with me, but what happened was that I somehow was so in the moment of, enjoying the convention that I started to forget to record certain moments in the convention. There was actually a couple of moments. I wanted to record my moment playing the game Tetris, because I was actually part of the Tetris competition, but for some odd reason, I completely didn't record that moment. I also played Super Smash Brothers with one of my family members, as well as checking out some of the venues that were in there, but I just couldn't record it. I was so in the moment that I just completely forgot about it, but I did record at least a couple of good moments plus some photos to boot. But yeah, let me just get a quick rundown. So going in, I was a little nervous. Because, I haven't been at a convention in such a long time, but it was really awesome. Going in and seeing just everything that I like about gaming, everything I like about movies, gaming, it's just like, it's just this hodgepodge of creativity. They had a lot of things. They had like they had like imports, they had like even different consoles from different countries. They had a lot of really great cosplayers, a lot of, you know, figures and all these great other stuff, some artwork, some really, really amazing fan artwork. You know, I really love, you know, the appreciation and love that we have for what we love and what we like. It was a really great experience, though it was, even for how, you know, it wasn't that big. It kind of felt like a mall in there, like a small mall in there, or even just like a small, you know, grocery store. But it, just with all the things around, it was kind of easy to get lost. I did manage to, and of course showing you the footage, I did manage to be part of a competition, like a small little competition of just being part of the ET, you know, ET, you know, tests. You know, the basically I was playing for the first time ever ET on Atari 2600, and let me tell you, it was a pain. It was a pain. Like, just, I mean, not the Atari controller itself. I actually did have an Atari until I decided to, like, give it away at some point. But, you know, the Atari controller is, yeah, it's hard to get used to, but you get used to it because the games are very so simple. But then it was just really hard, that game. I was trying to figure it out, and literally the guy who was part of the, who was basically the manager of the competition, he was just like, you know, there was a 10-year-old here, and let me tell you, he was doing better than you. Oh my gosh, I'm just like, really? And then, yeah, and B-Dags actually was recording a couple of these moments of me just failing. I am speaking somewhat through the video, but it's so, like, it's so crowded in that area, it was kind of hard to tell. I didn't end up, you know, being part of the list of people who succeeded at least beating ET on Atari 2600, but he did give me a sticker for a good attempt, you know. That's all that happened. And for the Tetris competition, I was late. You see, during the middle of the whole convention, I decided to go get lunch with B-Dags and my folks.
All right, so we're just outside, just a bit, having some lunch. He's just having his sandwich. Hello. Hello. It's really windy here. All right, I got myself a little friend here. His name is Kirby. How are you, Kirby? I want to go back. Stop. Why? I wanted to meet the gaming historian. He's not there yet. Damn.
But we ended up kind of going through a lot of detours. It was kind of hard to find a place to eat there, so we just settled for Subway in the last minute, which was nearby. Kind of like, you know, a science center that was next to the convention, but it was already too late and the competition already happened. Even though I was one of the entries, it just didn't happen, which really, really sucked. But, you know, there was a light in the end of the tunnel, because while, you know, being there, I did get a few things. One of these things was a Super Nintendo controller. Well, Super Famicom. This is actually the Super Famicom, the Japanese Super Nintendo controller, and I got it because I kind of need a couple of these, because the one that I have, known as a Super Pad, it works fine. It just doesn't work as authentically as a real Super Nintendo, Super Famicom controller. And I do plan on getting another one of these in due time, but I also do plan on getting an extension cord, because look at this. This, I don't think you can see through the video, but this controller is like, it looks like it's long, but it's not. It's actually kind of short. It's like almost 3 feet, like 3 feet long, and it's weird because the Super Pad controller actually is longer than this, and I'm just like, why are these so short, like, compared to, like, but yeah, I'm just gonna get myself an extension cord eventually at some point. But another thing that I got from the convention is Yoshi's Story in the box. The Nintendo 64 Yoshi Story. This is possibly one of my favorite games on the Nintendo 64 because, you know, I haven't tried every single Nintendo 64 game, but yes, I have tried ones like, you know, and I played them, Super Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, Killer Instincts Gold. I did try a little bit of GoldenEye growing up, and I have tried a few other Super Nintendo N64 games, Rocket Robot on Wheels, and I really love that game, and I beat that one. That was actually pretty awesome. But this is the game that honestly I like to go back to just because for how very adorable it is, very cute. Yes, the game is inside, except there's no manual for this. There is no manual, but the game is inside. Yeah, right there. That is Yoshi's Story for the Nintendo 64. So, okay, and of course, anyone who knows how to, you know, and I tried it and it did work. So for anyone who, you know, wants to, you know, play the game on your American N64, a lot of people say that you have to solder the N64 in order for it to work and remove the plastic things, but and honestly, the best solution, in my opinion, that I've been using is that take a very old N64 American cartridges and get one of those special Nintendo screws that they actually sell pretty cheaply on eBay and just, you know, change the back. You can see actually right here how you see the back is in English because I actually used one of a random game that I really didn't play much with, and I basically unscrewed the back and changed the back for this cartridge, and yeah, that's basically how you play Japanese games on your American Nintendo 64. All you have to do is just really change the back or solder or remove those plastic things, but I decided to go with this solution because it just seemed like the more convenient solution for me. But yeah. Now, before I get to the grand finale of the things that I got, I want to mention that I met pretty awesome people there. I actually met the people who were actually in the Mortal Kombat game. Yeah, that would be Johnny Cage and Raiden. Those are pretty awesome people. But of course, I decided to just, you know, just talk a little bit, and that's it. Talk about, like, they actually told me about how, you know, how the whole thing went with digitizing their bodies to, like, the game. It was actually a pretty cool experience. And I also met the announcer. It was a random one. I met the announcer for the game NBA, the arcade game, the NBA Jam announcer. And yeah, he was there. He was kind of like doing this thing. And I actually, the arcade machine was right next. I'm sorry if I don't have any clips of that, but like the arcade machine was right next to him. I was playing it, and literally when I scored, he told me, "Hey, what's your name?" I'm just like, "Oh yeah, my name is this." And then he shouted my name with his voice in the game, and the winner goes to this guy. I'm just like, oh my gosh, that was freaking awesome. So yeah, and then of course I met one of the few people that I wanted to meet in the convention, which was the gaming historian and Pixel Dan. If you don't know who those two are, gaming historian is basically the gaming YouTuber who talks about the history of video games, basically the history of, like, his channel dedicates itself with the history of video games, consoles. I think he rarely did a movie, I think once, or maybe I'm talking about someone else, but yeah, if you want to know details about imports or any Japanese to American or even accessories of video game consoles, he's your guy. And also there was Pixel Dan, who, if you know him, he's the guy who basically talks about, you know, all the antique, you know, toys, games, and stuff. He goes to, like, a lot of these flea markets and just tries to discover, like, these deals on these old toys, new toys like Transformers, He-Man, Masters of the Universe. They actually had books that a book based on his, you know, what he thinks is good and not and stuff. And yeah, they were really, really awesome people. Like, they're really nice people, though I was weirdly nervous because, and then, you know, B-Dags was right next to me. It's just like, you know, they're just like us, guy. You know, they're just like us. You don't have to be nervous, man. I'm just like, but I don't know, for some odd reason I was just a little nervous. I did manage to ask at least the questions that I wanted to ask, except for this one question that I want to ask him, like, for the gaming historian, if anyone who's watched his videos, why does the end of his videos end with, kind of like PBS Kids, where they said, like, funding for the gaming historian? I'm just like, it just reminded me of PBS Kids, and I wanted to ask him why is it like that, but I guess I never had a chance because, I was asking already other questions. But yeah, the one great thing that, to be fair, wasn't the original intention, but it was a great thing that it happened. So you see here, this is the cartridge of the game Combat, and they signed it. Yeah, right there, the signature of the gaming historian and Pixel Dan. Yeah, they signed this cartridge, and it was kind of they actually asked me, like, why randomly ask them for, to sign a combat card. Here's the thing. What happened was that I know for a fact that, here's the real deal. What happened is that originally I was going to ask not only them, but I was going to ask Pat the NES Punk, and anyone who watches both Pat the NES Punk and the Angry Video Game Nerd knows what I'm talking about the whole combat thing, yeah, with the combat cartridge. Yeah, so I wanted them to sign it too, and I heard that they usually go to these, but I'm guessing they didn't went to the one in Connecticut. Maybe next year, maybe another time. I'm hoping I get to see them, and maybe they'll be the extra people to sign the combat card, because seriously, that would be freaking awesome. Yeah. Actually, I also wanted to... There was a copy of Donkey Kong 3 that I wanted to get, so I can ask, because that is the gaming historian's one of his favorite games on the Donkey Kong's, trilogy on NES and the arcade games, and I wanted him to sign the cartridge. I wanted to get myself a Donkey Kong 3 cartridge, but I just couldn't. I think it was just because it was a little bit more expensive compared to, because in that convention it was a little bit more expensive than what you can get online. So yeah, maybe next time, but yeah, I mean, this is awesome too. Like, this is really, really awesome. I'm keeping this for a long time. Okay, so the last thing I got, one of the, if not the, one of the greatest holy grails of gaming. I'll be right back. Give me a few minutes.
ソニック君とこれまたテイルス君ですもの。これはまたまた16ビットのメガドライブ？あらら、なんとこれはびっくりびっくり。高性能でコンパクト、6つのボタンのファイティングパッドもついて、しかもソフトタイトル250オーバーの実力ときたら登場メガドライブ2。新世代のミラクルマシンメガ CD2 も同時発売。これは買いですよ。セガ
No, you are not dreaming. This is real. I got myself a Sega Saturn. This, to me, is one of the holy grails of gaming, and let me tell you, this is a console that I wanted for such a long time. I mean, yes, I do see them online, and to be fair, this was a little bit more than what you usually find online, though sometimes even worse when it comes to, like, different versions of the console. But yeah, I wanted to get this. I just really wanted to get this, because as soon as I saw it, I'm just like, I gotta pick this up, man. I gotta pick this up. Because the Sega Saturn, I mean, come on, like, it is one of the, if not one of the holy grails of gaming. I mean, I know that, it's kind of hard to really, like, find games for the Saturn nowadays, but I am going to be doing the special hacking solution to use this for. But just having, and I did test it out at home. I did test it out to see if it worked, and it does actually work well. I actually tried a CD. I didn't have a Sega Saturn game with me, but just the fact that this works, and even with a controller, actually, you see, the one thing that was a little bit off is that the controller that I got was actually, kind of a little bit broken. It wasn't 100% broken, but the left trigger is a little stuck on the controller. But, I'm going to get another controller just to play with this, and I'm just like, in my opinion, this is one of the, seriously, I am really, really excited that I finally got these. It took a long time to really dedicate myself to getting one of these. I mean, they're not easy to find, but at the same time, people don't usually get them because, they can just emulate it now, but even that's really hard. So it's really good to just have this console because it's one of the rare consoles that's very hard to emulate, with a computer, and it can even get difficult to play all the games on it. So it's just really awesome that I could just now play games on this thing and just play it on my TV, just having a blast, maybe do some playthroughs and maybe some streaming with it in the future. But yeah, this is awesome. So yeah, it was just a blast being there. I also even saw I saw a wrestling match, and let me tell you, it was probably one of the most awesome things that I ever saw. I actually was gonna ask my dad to go over there and be like, hey, be part of it, have fun. I'm just like, he's just like, no, you're crazy. I'm just like, but you're really good at this. I'm just like, yeah, but this is not professional. Okay, so I actually, it was really just seeing these people wrestle, seeing a lot of, for example, things that I didn't manage to record. There was actually a few moments where I was with B-Dags where we were playing a bunch of video games. I actually played Vector Man on the Sega Genesis, which was really cool. There were a bunch of people who were playing things like Super Smash Brothers, which I joined in on, Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, and yeah, it was pretty damn cool too. There was actually arcade machines and pinball machines. It was really cool. I actually managed to play Deathstalkers with B-Dags, and yeah, we were having a blast, dealing with the arcades. And there was actually this one moment where, yes, I do have it recorded, where I was playing with someone the original Ninja Turtles arcade game, and I love the Ninja Turtles arcade game because to be fair, just recently I just beat Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge, and that game is pretty awesome too. I think it is the best Turtles game so far, in my opinion. It's the best Turtles game so far. And yeah, it was just a blast, just fun. And actually, funny enough, we beat the whole game. He was literally during the last part of the game, and I helped him out, and yeah, we ended up beating it the whole game together. We actually had unlimited lives, it was a free play and stuff. We beat the whole game, and it was just freaking awesome. I mean, seriously, it was just an awesome time. I never felt the adrenaline of just beating an arcade game, the actual arcade game being there. I recorded that moment. It was just, it was just awesome.
Yo, we beat the game. Okay, oh, it's widescreen. What turtle power. Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, there was also the Mortal Kombat arcade machine, which, the signing of, the actors who were in the game. I didn't play too much of that, but I did, have a fun time, just wandering around the convention, just having a blast with all of these people. It was honestly a really amazing, really good time, and there is a chance that I might come back next year. There's a chance that I might come back next year. It's not 100%, but I really do want to come back. Or at least the Kineticon, which, that actually sounds like a really cool idea, and actually a good idea. But let's say that for another time. But yeah, so those are my overall thoughts on, how my experience in a long time in a con, Retro World Expo. So yeah, had a blast, had a good time. Roger D. Star, signing out, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.